Tonight, we take a look at the crazy Trade Recognition Australia processing times, state sponsorship allocation numbers are nearly all used up, and how the government is making tens of millions of dollars by using the GTE to refuse student visas. Hi, I'm Karl Konrad and welcome to our weekly edition of Australian Immigration News. We don't just parrot the news here, we analyse the issues and speak when we need to speak up about things which are just not right. Whatever changes lie ahead, and yes, it seems there will be many, the government of the day must take into account the enormous time, money and effort people are making to meet current rules and policies. Temporary residents just want to be recognised that they too are worthy of respect, even if they cannot vote. Now, unfortunately, something we must continue to shed light upon. The skill assessment body, which has the incredibly important task of granting assessments for tradespeople, Trade Recognition Australia, is now nearly taking 1.5 years to complete their job. These tradespeople are the ones who have studied their trade qualifications in Australia. Now we need these young people who have studied in Australia and now working here on their allocated 18-month working visa in their occupations to be able to stay here. No wonder we can't find enough tradespeople for the houses we need to be built. We can't even look after the ones who are already here working in their occupations.
No use bringing in doctors and nurses because there's nowhere for them to live, and we need to bring in tradesmen to build those houses.
Nicholas wrote in today and made this comment. Hi Karl, where can we complain about Trades Recognition Australia? I called today to know about the times to get the JRP done. They said the whole process is going to take 16 to 18 months. How can it be? When you study a trade, you get 18 months of graduate visa. They told me that if you don't have enough time, we can call the Department of Home Affairs. TRA is so negligent. Every other month they modify the processing times to make it longer and longer. Well, that's just great, isn't it? If you don't have enough time, not our problem, call immigration. We have 2 ministers in charge of immigration, but they cannot even get the skill assessment authorities to get their acts together. These sorts of time delays are making a mockery of the whole system. Ministers, you cannot continue to blame the previous government for this mess. It's time to get on top of the situation and demonstrate some leadership. The 485 graduate visa program will soon be modified. Exactly when has not been released, but when it is, the visa will be divided into 3 streams. They will be basically the same as the 3 on the current ones, but the marketing department wants to earn their keep by rebranding them. The current graduate work stream will become post-vocational education work visa. The post-study work stream will become post-higher education work visa. The second post-study work stream will become post-higher education work-regional visa. This information is in the new administration report released this week. Also in this booklet, we find the same wording the department released to us the week before regarding the changes ahead for the graduate visa. Reducing the maximum age limit to 35 years old, inclusive, repositioning the visa as a product for early career professionals who can contribute to the Australian economy over a longer period. They will also be increasing the English level requirements, probably up to the competent definitions. And just a word of support for all of you studying in Australia who will be turning 35 soon, the fight to gain a transitional arrangement will continue. The Department of Home Affairs has updated their website regarding the allocation of state sponsorship places. It is great to see some transparency here with regular monthly updates. I won't call out all the figures here tonight, for we'll put you all to sleep. However, Western Australia has now closed its program for this financial year, and no doubt other states will follow suit in the next couple of months. However, New South Wales and Queensland seem to be holding back their invitations, perhaps waiting for the highest points applicants to come along first. Isn't it amazing how quickly things can change? In 2021, Australia had a strategy developed for our most important education industry that was worth over $40.3 billion and supported more than 250,000 Australian jobs before the pandemic. In November 2021, the government, the then Liberal government, released this document, Australian Strategy for International Education 2021 to 2030. It was compiled by a group of experts and outlined a new strategy that would support the sector and grow sustainably. The target was 10 million students coming here and studying by 2030. Now the Labor Party is in power, it seems the old strategy is out of date already. Kind of the way Claire O'Neill announced a 2-year extension on graduate 485 visas just 8 months ago, and soon that strategy is to become extinct. The Labor Party is now taking a wrecking ball to the education industry by eroding the trust international students have in the migration system in this country. Many overseas students have already decided that Australia is not a worthy place to invest their time and money to study. You can see that just by monitoring the comments on our channel. Worse still, the Australian government is developing a reputation that it simply cannot be trusted. The 476 visa fiasco is a prime example of that, and hundreds of 188A applicants are trembling they will be next to have their applications closed off. However, one of the worst examples is the treatment of international students who will be 35 by July, and are being told they just need to pack up and go when they finish their courses. And now we are discovering a different kind of breach of trust. Tens of thousands of students' visa applicants are now learning they have a 1 in 5 chance of having their application refused. And depending what country you're from, it could be worse. 50% for Chinese passport holders, or even 90% if you live in certain parts of India. Of course, none of them are told these statistics before they lodge their applications. Such is the current arrangements of the Australian visa processing, where the Minister Claire O'Neill tells us via an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald, migration is too high. Our goal is very clear. We are returning migration to pre-COVID levels, and applying proper integrity to student visa applications is critical in doing that, she said. And what law are they using to apply that integrity? Well, of course, it's the old discredited Genuine Temporary Entrant Test, the GTE. This was introduced by the opposition leader Peter Dutton back when he was Immigration Minister, the very person Claire O'Neill dumps on every opportunity she gets. The minister hasn't bothered to introduce the new Genuine Student Test we've all heard about, because the Immigration Department loves the power of the old GTE, Peter's favourite weapon of choice. Let's not kid ourselves here. The vast majority of refusals are not from fraudulent applications. They are being refused by the GTE, the test which can be used if desired so to refuse any student visa applicant. But now the refusal rate is so high that many universities are crying foul, costing them dearly. The media was full of reports about university leaders banding together, complaining bitterly to the Department of Home Affairs that this high student visa refusal rate was just too much. Now the use of this dreaded GTE is costing the country hundreds of millions of dollars, and this mass refusal rate has an unexpected flow-on effect on those applications still waiting to be processed. The universities themselves have begun to cancel COEs for students waiting for their courses to start, but the visa decision has not been made. This is due to the universities being scared that too many rejections will damage their precious ranking status. With no COE in place, students will have little option but to withdraw their student visa application. Of course, the government will be happy to keep everybody's $710 application fee. And that brings us to another important fact. How much money is the department raking in from these quick GTE refusals? Now, to find that information, let's take a look at the data released this week in the Immigration Department's Administration Report. According to the graph published here, last financial year there were approximately 600,000 student visa lodgements. Of those, approximately 10% were refused, some 60,000. At say $710 a visa application, that would mean approximately a windfall of $42 million was made off student visa applicants who had their applications refused. For the first half of this financial year, there have been about 300,000 lodgements, but the refusal rate has now skyrocketed to 20% and is climbing. This means that so far about 60,000 applicants have had their visas refused, meaning Doha has made approximately another $42 million windfall. This will probably reach about $100 million by the end of this financial year. My point is here that it is not profitable to put a cap on student visa applicants being allowed to lodge applications. However, it is very, very profitable to let them lodge their applications knowing that you intend to cut about 20% and keep their application fees. That, my friends, is simply highway robbery, or perhaps a more modern day interpretation, fraud. When you are taking money from applicants without telling them they have a 20% chance of failure, that would drag any business into court with multiple lawsuits. But hey, if you're the government doing this, well, you can get away with it by citing new and tougher requirements, when in fact there are no tougher requirements at all. Well, that's enough for one night to digest. Let's hope for some good news this week for a change. As always, if you need help, we are always here. You can book a time online on our website, but if you're in a hurry, please call the office and have a chat to Pat or Hay. As always, take care out there, and I'll see you next time. So bye for now.